Russia is a very complicated much more to talk about nation. As Politico, but if there's one thing you absolutely must know about Russia if you're going to navigate this world, that thing is that on February 16th, 2022, Vladimir Putin is going to invade our closest ally in the world, Ukraine. So write that down. February 16th, 2022, Ukraine invasion begins. That's the day. Joe Biden has been very clear about that. So have the intel agencies and, of course, their stenographers in the news media. As Politico put it, quote, Russia will start a physical assault on Ukraine as soon as February 16th. Multiple U.S. officials confirmed a physical assault. But this won't be your typical physical assault like the kind you've experienced in the New York City subway. No. According to Politico, this physical assault, quote, could be preceded by a barrage of missile strikes and cyber attacks. So these aren't just gang members, they're Russians. The Daily Mail confirmed Politico's reporting. Quote, Putin has decided to invade Ukraine on Wednesday, read the headline. Brits and Americans told to get out now. That same day, the Mirror in London let us know they had seen Vladimir Putin's planning documents, and Operation Snuff Out Ukrainian Democracy was already in motion. Quote, Russian invasion of Ukraine set for 3 a.m. tomorrow with missiles and tank attack. So February 16th, 2022 was definitely the day the music was going to die in Ukraine. Everybody knew that. Nothing happened. Vladimir Putin did not invade Ukraine. Now, if Joe Biden noticed the lack of an invasion, he didn't acknowledge that. He didn't say a word. Today, he was back on television assuring us once again the invasion's coming.
How high is the threat of a Russian invasion right now?
It's very high.
Why?
It's very high because they have not moved any of their troops out. They've moved more troops in. Number one. Number two, we have reason to believe that they are engaged in a false flag operation to have an excuse to go in. Every indication we have is they're prepared to go into Ukraine, attack Ukraine.
Are you going to call Putin?
I'm not calling Putin. I have no plans to call Putin right now.
You think he's made a final decision, sir?
So here's a guy who's literally wearing a mask outside, assuring us that he's sane and on the ball enough to know when Putin is going to invade Ukraine. But of course, he's gotten it wrong. What's going on here? Well, the most obvious explanation is the most obvious one. Doddering old Joe Biden, who even before he was senile was widely considered a moron in Washington, has been played by Vladimir Putin, who may be evil but definitely is not stupid. If Putin bluffed an invasion of Ukraine to make Biden look ridiculous, it worked. Maybe there was something else going on. Maybe Putin still plans to invade Ukraine. It's hard to know. But as you just heard, Joe Biden doesn't know because he refuses to talk to the Russians. The Russians are too immoral for Joe Biden. That's saying a lot, coming from a former credit card lobbyist who helped run America's most corrupt state. But according to Joe Biden, Vladimir Putin is not someone you can ever talk to because he put bounties on the lives of American troops in Afghanistan. How does Joe Biden know that happened? Well, he got it from the very same people who spent all last month telling us that Putin was going to invade Ukraine on February 16th. Here they are.
New report says that Russia offered Afghan militants bounties to kill U.S. soldiers. The administration's non-reaction.
CNN, matching the reporting, cited a source asserting that the cash rewards did lead to coalition casualties.
Not so long ago, in a land not so far away, there was a Republican Party that would have confronted Russia for putting bounties on the heads of U.S. soldiers.
To say nothing of putting bounties on American troops.
It's unbelievable, Joy.
Yeah.
I mean, he has still yet to say anything as the President of the United States about bounties on American troops.
So the most discredited people in the world weighing in with total certainty on the most important topics. If you were to sum up the moment we're living in, that's how you'd describe it. Everything they just told you turned out to be untrue. They were lying. Why were they lying about that? Well, of course, to keep us in Afghanistan forever. Why would they want to do that, you ask? We weren't achieving anything, obviously. The second we left, the Taliban took over and became one of the best armed militaries in the entire region. So what we were doing wasn't working, but they didn't want us to leave. In fact, they were willing to lie to keep us there. Why? Well, we don't have any special intel, but we're thinking maybe the defense industry, profligate campaign donors, may have had something to do with it. Here's Senator Richard Blumenthal of Connecticut explaining that actually Ukraine needs a lot more lethal weapons from Raytheon. Watch.
I was so deeply impressed with how resolute and determined the people of Ukraine are. They are courageous, they are steadfast, and they're going to fight in the streets, their neighborhoods, the fields, if we give them the arms that they need. And that's why I've also urged the Javelin missiles and the Stinger missile to combat their tanks and their aircraft.
So that guy who lied about his own war service is pretty excited at the thought of Ukrainians fighting and dying in the streets. These people are so ghoulish. And of course they're promoting war, not to maintain the democracy that is Ukraine. Ukraine is not a democracy. It has never been a democracy in its history, and it's not now. It's a client state of the Biden administration. It's a place in which opposition media and opposition political candidates are completely shut down by the government. It is not a democracy at all. And it's insulting they would suggest otherwise. But people like that, and many people in Washington, are pushing Ukraine toward war. So we're sending them weapons and then making it very easy for them to use them. They told us now for months that any preemptive attack by Ukraine actually isn't real. If you see Ukraine using these weapons, no, says Tony Blinken. That's not aggression, it's a false flag attack by Russia.
Russia plans to manufacture a pretext for its attack. This could be a violent event that Russia will blame on Ukraine, or an outrageous accusation that Russia will level against the Ukrainian government. We don't know exactly the form it will take. It could be a fabricated so-called terrorist bombing inside Russia, the invented discovery of a mass grave, a staged drone strike against civilians, or a fake, even a real, attack using chemical weapons.
So they're going to use chemical weapons, but it won't actually be them, it'll be those diabolical Russians. Once again, there's zero evidence that any of this is true. This is clearly some sort of intel op that's being filtered through the State Department and the media.